Hi, Scrappy friends. Welcome to an episode of The Basics. Today, we're going to look at the Creative Memories border making system. This is one of Creative Memories' most popular tools because it's so easy to use. It's quick, it's simple, and it creates such beautiful borders that we can use on our layouts immediately. So what comes with this? When you purchase it, you get a paper guide, which includes a little tray that snaps out so our paper will fit in and we can get a nice clean cut. You also get the housing unit, and this is where the cartridges slide in. And with this purchase, you get one free cartridge, which is this beautiful picket fence. When you purchase it, this all comes together. So now let's jump over and talk about the different kinds and types of cartridges that you can purchase to use in your border making system. There's three types of cartridges. The first one is called a chain, and you'll usually see that in the name of the cartridge itself. So this one is a photography chain, and it has a little camera. As when it comes out, the camera comes out in a chain, and it's all linked together and punches straight out of the paper into the chain, and you'll get a up to 12-inch cut at one time. The next one is the edge, and this one punches at the edge of the paper and stays attached to the paper until you decide how you want to cut that off the paper. Here's an example. This one is the Sunshine Arches, and you'll see it stays attached to the edge of the paper, and then you decide the width of the paper that you want to leave underneath the cutout. Okay, so that's the edge. And then the last one is what I like to call inset. And I don't know the actual term for this, but I call it inset because what it does is when it's punched out, it keeps the design in the paper. So it looks something like this. So you'll see the little chevrons, and this one happens to be called chevron arrows. And a little chevrons stay inside the paper. And then again, it's like the edge, you get to decide the width on one side. So this stays attached until you cut it, but once you cut it off, it stays inside the paper. Okay, so those are the three different types of cartridges that are always available on the Creative Memories website. Okay, so let's put these away, and we'll grab some paper, and we'll give this a try. So the border making system can be used with pattern paper and cardstock. Now the device is only guaranteed if you use Creative Memories paper. You can use other paper, but you want to make sure that it's not too thick because you could take the chance of damaging your cartridge. We take the paper guide and we slide out the paper tray and we open the blue arm. We take the paper and we slide it in to the paper tray, and once it fits exactly into the corner on both ends, and then click down the blue bar. The blue bar has a magnet here, and when the magnets are both engaged, it'll hold the paper snugly in place. Then we can flip back the paper tray, and that leaves us with the paper dangling off the edge of the paper guide. We put that on the table. We take our housing unit, which we've already installed, our picket fence cartridge with the teeth facing outward. The teeth are going to grab onto those notches I was showing you earlier, and we're going to line up the white nodule on the housing unit to the blue nodule on the paper guide. And so we'll slide the paper right in to that open slot. When you match up those and it's in place, you'll hear a small click. And then you just press down. Once you press down, you could bring it out and then slide it back in, and again, you'll hear the click. It's in place, and we can tell because our nodules are lined up, and we press down. We do that 6 times onto the paper guide, and that'll give us a 12-inch border. We want to remove all the fallout, and we just discard it. If you're having any trouble with your cartridge hanging up, I always check to make sure I'm removing the fallout underneath, because that will be what's probably causing your cartridge to get tangled up. Okay, now this picket fence is an edge, and so it does stay attached to the top of the paper like I was describing until we cut it off. So let me bring in my 12-inch trimmer. And for this one, I'm going to use 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to line the top of the peak of the fence to the 1 1/4 inch mark line. And I make sure it's all the way down. It's all lined up. And I cut. Let's bring this in. There we go. It's beautiful, very simple, very, very quick. Okay, so now let me show you a couple tricks that we can do with this. We have our first border cut out with this beautiful pattern paper. I'm going to put that aside, and this time I'm going to cut one with the cardstock. So again, I open the tray, open the arm, slide the paper in until it's flush in the corners on each side. You can kind of hold it in place with your thumb right here. Put down the blue bar, put back the tray. Take your housing unit with the cartridge installed, slide the paper right into that slit, click it in place, and press down. Okay, let's bring back in this trimmer. This time I'm going to do about a 1 1/2 inch cut. So I lined all the peaks up to the 1 1/2 inch marking and cut. I made this one just a little bit bigger so I can show you this technique. You could punch 2 of them, line them up together, and give yourself a little bit of a shadow technique. Bring in a piece of white paper so you can see the difference. And if you adhered those together, you would just get an ever so slight shadow effect. Isn't that pretty? So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Let me show you another fun idea. Let's bring back in our blue cardstock. And this time I'm going to change the cartridge to the Sunshine Arches. So in order to take this out, you turn it upside down. You'll see a little release button on the back. Make sure your hand is underneath. Push the little release button. Sometimes you have to just give it a little shake and it drops right into your hand. Let's put in the Sunshine Arches. And let's take our paper, put it into the paper guide. Put the blue arm down, flip the tray back. We're following the same procedure, sliding it in, matching up the nodules, and pressing down. This time I felt a little bit of a snag, so I wanted to make sure I got all that fallout up. It was just a little bit of a tug, nothing serious. To help prevent that, you can slide it all the way out and bring it back into the next spot on the paper guide. Okay. So like I said, this one, the Sunshine Arches, is another edge punch. So we need to bring back in that paper trimmer. And this time, I'll do it on this side. I'm going to do about a 2 1/2 inch cut. So I'm lining the peaks of the arches up on the 2 1/2 inch line. And again, I just cut. Now what's really fun is when you mix and match your punches together. So I'm going to take this beautiful border and I'm going to now take out the Sunshine Arches and I'm going to put back in the picket fence. This time I'll bring my paper guide in. I will make sure that it's lined up in the corners. And you'll see I don't have a lot of room here to hang on for that magnet to hang on to the paper. So there are a little bit of tricks that we can do. We can take a Post-it note and hold that down in place. And if it makes you more comfortable, you could put 2 down and it will not be cutting the Post-it. Okay, that's just in there so that when the arm is down, that magnet can click in and hold the paper firmly in place for us. Okay, so we're going to take our housing unit with our picket fence inside, and we're going to cut out on the opposite side. And there you go. You can make a border that has 2 different cartridges used on either side. And isn't that beautiful? Let's bring back in our white paper so you can see it close up. And then the last thing that I would like to demonstrate is how you can use the border making cartridge as a single punch. Okay, so let's take out the picket fence and we'll put in our photography cartridge. Click it in place. Now for this, we do not need the paper guide at all because we're going to use it as a single punch. So if you want to do a single cut on some of your cartridges, you need to tip it upside down so we can see the back side of it. So here there's 1 camera, and that's my goal, is to punch out 1 camera. The opening here from side to side is about 3 inches, and then the cartridge itself is about 2. So I have a little piece of scrap paper here, and I'm just going to slide this in, and you should be able to see it going into the housing unit. And I'm going to slide, in this case, I'm going to slide it all the way to the back, and I'm going to slightly press down on the lever to hold my paper, because when I punch it, I do want to punch it upside down. So I'm going to flip it back over all the while I'm holding it, and then I'm going to squeeze it, and I get 1 single camera. So what I like to do, especially with this camera, this is one of my favorite punches to do this with. I'll just snip off the little camera, and then I can use it as an embellishment on my page. Okay, let's try it again with the sunshine arches. So this time, since I know the punch is about 3 inches, so I'm going to cut off a 2-inch piece, and I'm going to put the sunshine arches cartridge into my housing unit. Then I'm going to take the piece of pattern paper. Again, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to align it. I'm going to push it all the way to the back in this case, and this time I'm going to align it so that I could see both sides of my paper. So I went a little bit smaller this time. So let me put this here so you can see it. So I just want to make sure that it's centered as close as we could. And again, I'm going to give it a gentle squeeze to hold it in place so that I can then flip it upside down, punch it, and there we go. This makes for a great tag or an edge if you wanted to make some pretty strips going up and down, sideways, or what I like to do is I like to make a pretty tag. So I like to do about a 4-inch cut, and then I have a gorgeous tag. So when you get your new border making cartridges, you just need to try them out and see, first decide if it's an edge punch, a chain, or an inset, and then just give it a try. Pop it in the housing, try it with a single cut, try it with your paper cut, and just have fun with it. So let me show you a couple of my favorite ways to use these border punches in non-traditional ways. So the traditional way would be to make a border with it. These are what I would consider non-traditional. So I also like to do something like this, where I make a homemade journaling box. So I'll punch out 1 punch. It's the same idea as the camera. This one has 2 fans. It's called the double fan, and it's a chain punch, but you'll see how this time I left it in inside the paper, and I just put on some lined paper to make it a very cute, fun journal box to go with whatever theme I was using. And then I also like to do them to make mats for my photos. Here's where I used a edge punch. This one is called Starry, and I put it at the top of the paper, and then I cut it into a mat that would fit my photo. Very simple, but a great way to add a little bit of pizzazz to your layout. Okay, that wraps up this episode of The Basics, and we learned about our border making system. If you have any questions at all, then please link them down into the comments below. I love answering questions. I could do a follow-up video if you need something specific, and maybe we can talk one-on-one. Please let me know you enjoyed this episode by clicking that like button. I really appreciate it, and thank you for doing that. And until next time, take care and bye-bye.